And voters decide as campaign season ramps up, we're seeing a lot more attack ads, so we asked legal experts if there were any laws against them.
As Josh Manny shows us, they say these ads are actually protected by free speech laws.
You give up a great deal of any kind of claim for libel or slander as you become more public.
In the 1960s, the Supreme Court case Sullivan versus the New York Times established the legal benchmark that if you take up public office, you cannot sue anyone for libeling or slandering you.
In a democracy, we're not expected to be sensitive or respectful. We want to be, but there's no requirement under the Constitution to do so. And there are individuals that push that envelope.
Lock-in tells us that free speech laws ostensibly protect political groups from lying or distorting the truth about opposing candidates.
Within the context of an election and politicians, the courts have been fairly consistent on this, both at the state and the national level. We have to respect the highest possible protection of free speech. We've seen it exercised in national campaigns in ways that seem to be unlike anything we've ever witnessed.
And while it's a new trend that smaller races are getting more venomous, it's not unprecedented.
As bad as things are today, if you look back in the 1800s, they were actually significantly worse and nastier. Families, kids, wives, they were all fair game for somebody if you were going after a political opponent. And it was pretty nasty stuff.
Unique to Nevada, political groups' financial reporting is not due until July, after the statewide primary this Tuesday. So the lack of transparency at the moment could be driving the vitriolic messaging up.
The result of that is a lot of these independent groups, and they're groups that are not directly funded by a campaign or a candidate, they are a little bit more liberated to go after folks because you don't have the ammunition there if you're their opponent to say, hey, look, they're being funded by so-and-so.
Voters decide. Josh Manny, 2 News Nevada.
And Josh also found those who enter politics should expect to take lumps sometimes.
Yeah, and for example, Nevada's Attorney General Aaron Ford had run-ins with the law when he was young, and it was brought out against him in the 2022 Nevada AG race.